love that baby in spite of the circumstances, which
It's life.
but which would be almost impossible because of the circumstance of how she became pregnant. But yet that person now is an adult and is doing pro-life talk.
It's a witness.
Yeah, as a witness of how, in spite of how horribly this person was conceived, yet that person was loved by her mom. In spite of however horrible it was, she was still loved by her mom, and is now advocating, going through with the pregnancy and saying abortion is not the answer. To kill that child is not the answer.
I guess another way to answer that question would be, if you were to talk to a child who has been born under those circumstances and 10, 20 years after, would they come back and say, no, I wish I had never been born? I don't think you would actually find that. I really don't.
That's a good point.
Right? So, it doesn't necessarily make the situation less,
stressful for the woman.
Right? We recognize that as a terrible crime. We're not excusing that. And I think Jen's point too, the perpetrator needs to be brought to justice. But it's bringing the right person to justice.
My question is, so now that we're on the topic of justice, right?
Yeah.
So looking sort of on the flip side of the coin,
Yeah.
There's people that from at a very young age until like the end of their lives, they'll be in the criminal justice system for the rest of their lives, and they live like lives of pain and lives of suffering. So I understand that God has created everyone and God loves everyone, but if you're gonna bring a child into the world, into a life of suffering, and you know that the child's gonna suffer for the rest of his life, would an abortion be a better option to?
Is death ever a better option? I don't think death is ever a better option. And I agree. Like if a single woman gets pregnant and has no way of supporting this child, and I can see that there would be a lot of hardships because of trying to make ends meet, having an extra child, an extra mouth to feed. But then that's where the adoption comes in. And I know it's difficult to go through 9 months of pregnancy and then to be able to give up your child. But if you think about your child and think, what is best for my child? It's always best for a child to have a father and a mother. And I think in those circumstances, a lot of the difficulties that child would go through would be taken away because it would be raised in a warm, healthy, loving family environment where there is a father and a mother. There are some single moms who have done tremendous jobs raising their kids, absolutely, no matter what the circumstances, because they've put their child first and have given that love and support. That's the most important thing, and I commend them. That's fantastic. And their children have turned out to be upstanding citizens. But I think where there's always being in the criminal justice system, I think that's from not receiving the guidance, not receiving the love that they needed right from day one.
See, again, today's society has totally changed from biblical views in the sense that it's free and easy to go with anybody, and sometimes marriage is looked at as a 2-5-year contract. I commit my life to my wife for as long as I live, sickness and in health, whatever happens.
Till death do us apart.
So the whole thing is now, you say, okay, 2 people are going to get together, do this. Like, if you're not in a marriage commitment, how can you then start saying, well, my career is first, I don't think abortion will help us, because in 5 years, then we can afford a child. You can never afford a child. You got to step in, and then you find the ways you can find, because you love that child, like Mary said. You love that person. When I held my daughter the first time, there's an unexplainable joy in there. When you hug your mom at home, or you shake your dad's hand, there's a love that transcends. That's how our God loves us. But the thing is, when you're sitting there discussing, what can you discuss in that? You have no say. I can't say there's going to be more hair in my head. I can't. I cannot say I'm going to have a child. Fred said that already. They can't have children. They want a different route. There's others that say, okay, do I have to now say I need an abortion because in 5 years we can afford the kids? I need to get my boat, my career. I got to get this. That's not a decision. Then it's not abstinence, or that there's birth control. There's so many other options of just saying, well, causing.
And one more question. What do you guys, why do you believe that the government sort of isn't, it's a really touchy subject, so they totally refrain from talking about it. So what
because on the clock visibly,
They're on the
visibly,
clock, they want their
everybody knows
own
the time,
Yeah.
but behind the clock, it's ticking. And if they find out that you're against them or for them, it's such a touchy subject that they might not be the face of the clock. They might not be the leading power. And we know politicians, they like to be there for their 4 years and another 8 years. They got retirement plans, they're sitting having coffee after. Doesn't matter if they're liberal or progressive or MP, they're all politicians first. And there's
Let me understand the question, sorry. Was it why politicians are afraid to tackle?
Yeah, why they're afraid to tackle abortion issues, right?
Yeah. And I think to Ted's point, it reflects, I think, how society views it, and it will deal with the issues that the majority of the public wants to deal with, right? So,
But I think too, the media has a lot to do with it. I think the media portrays the pro-life cause as we're all fanatics, we're all out there ready to kill the abortionists. I'm sorry to say, but I think the media has a lot to do with the way that the pro-life people are portrayed. And in most cases, it's a very negative way, because when Harper, at one point, somebody said, well, he's thinking of dealing with the abortion issue. All of a sudden, that was given front page news, and all of a sudden, his ratings went way down because, he might tackle the abortion issue, and how's that going to handle everybody? Because everybody wants their rights to their bodies and stuff. But it was not, I'm sorry to say, but I think the media is very, very much at fault in the portrayal of the abortion issue, of the pro-life people.
The government as well, because Pierre Trudeau started, they took
Yeah.
the government into your bedroom.
Yeah.
Pierre Trudeau didn't say, we're gonna go into the bedroom of the people. Now, they have, big brothers watch you in your bedroom. When he stepped over that line, now we're just, and then the media's just having a heyday, right? Do we ever hear about New Orleans 4 or 5 years ago? That's all under the bridge, and there's people still living with no hydro, no nothing. So media doesn't draw attention to it. The Philippines hit with their 2 tsunamis or whatever. Again, front page news for a couple days, gone. But something that comes to our hearts, like Mary said, abortion, and then somebody takes a stand for it, it's all up, and then you get too much light, and then, we have to pull back because it's an election year, we got to do the budget. There's nothing that they can tackle because.
Yeah, but also the abortion doctor, when he was killed, that was front page news.
Yeah.
Like, everybody heard about that, and
All over the world,
pro-life,
internet.
yeah, the pro-lifers are fanatics, and they're ready to kill. And that's not, we believe in life. We don't believe in killing abortion doctors, but that's the way that we're portrayed. Now, a pro-life, a person who sat and held a sign saying that he was pro-life, he was murdered. Did that ever get on the news? No, that was never heard. Nobody ever heard about that, because that's not what the people want to see or hear. But the media is...
What it is.
Yeah, and I'm afraid that they are very influential in the way that people think about abortion, and it gives you the idea that pro-life people we're all a bunch of fanatics. We want to protect babies no matter what. We'll kill the abortion doctors if it means to protecting babies, and that's not what we're about. That's maybe 0.5% of the people feel that way, but the majority of people are peace-loving, wanting to protect the unborn in a civil, by holding our signs to make people aware of it, to generate discussion, so that, when we hold the signs, we see the people driving by, and you see them talking in their cars. That's what we want.
Where it is.
We want to get people talking about, what is abortion? The daughter asks her dad, what is abortion? What's that all about? And then the parents explain it to their children, and then we want the children to think, well, is it all right for a mom to kill her baby? We just want people to really talk about it and to bring this up for discussion, and then maybe portray the life of the unborn child. How important that is.